I have a very odd belief system. I believe in the power of signs. I do. I believe in magical thinking. My Nona used to say to me, "A great day is a day when a meteor doesn't hit the earth. Never forget that." And then she would drop me at kindergarten. She believed in signs. She knew that if you opened an umbrella inside, if you walked under a ladder, if you forgot to tuck the evil eye in your pocket, trouble was going to follow. She was an artist, her husband a composer in Sicily. As a young widow, she knew that he was talking to her from the beyond through the kitchen pipes. When she was in the 6th grade, she was pulled from school, to her great shame and regret, to cook for the family. She was unbelievable. On her last day of school, she ran a race and she placed first. And she wore the tiny gold medal around her neck until the day she died. She was 12. Now, I'm the same age when I developed the most incredible system. It's a superpower, perhaps you've heard of it. If you do things in a certain order, then you can predict the future. I highly recommend it. I kept it to myself. I used the same number 2 yellow pencil every day when I took a test until it was just a little nub of a thing. I would walk to school in the same door. When I was in the yard, I would play basketball, and I wouldn't go in until I made 5 baskets in a row. Now, I wasn't really good, so sometimes it took a very long time. My household was chaotic and frightening and filled with landmines that weren't discussed on the Phil Donahue show. Anyway, signs. It's the early 90s. I'm ground into fine powder by the music industry. My hands are chapped and cracked and marred from pounding away in rehearsal halls and dance classes and auditions. I'm working steadily as an associate conductor and a 3rd keyboardist, but I have no innate sense of direction. I have no compass for my soul. I am looking for a sign. I don't want to shine the music of others. I want to make my own. I have a searing ambition and no place to put it. It's an early June morning. I'm walking down Schubert Alley. You know Schubert Alley, right? It's between 44th and 45th Street. It's this little alley in the theater district, of course. I hear someone running behind me. I'm a good New Yorker, so I stop, drop, and I get out the way. It's a man running. He has a handbag, and behind him is an equestrian cop galloping with his bully stick out, and I think, holy hell, that's a sign. I go right to the theater where I'm employed as a 3rd keyboardist and an associate conductor, and I give my 3-month notice. That night, the director calls me and says, "If you quit, I'm going to blackball you. You're never going to work again." Someone on the music staff says, "If you quit, the only work that's going to be available to you is as a New York City prostitute." Okay. I quit. I call my friend the Adirondacks and I say, "I'm leaving New York, I need a house." And she said, "Oh, I have a perfect house for you. It's $300 a month." "Okay, I'll take it." And she said, "It's really isolated." I was like, "It's $300 a month, I'll take it." It's really isolated because it's a lighthouse. I know! I'm renting a lighthouse. In September, I pack everything up, I drive my truck. I'm following 2 guys from Beethoven Piano who are hauling a Steinway up there for me, and I get ready to write. I order too much wood. The man who delivers the wood also kindly delivers a squirrel pie. Yes, that is a pie filled with squirrel. There is no email, there is no computer, there is no cell phone, but there is a VHS player, and I have 1 tape, the Cher Step workout tape. It's quite effective. My father and mother, I call them and I say, "Hey, I'm renting a lighthouse and I'm going to go write." They're like, "Okay." All right. My father FedExes me a hunting knife. It's when you could do that kind of thing, right? And he said, just keep it on your bedside just in case. Okay. I start to write, and I know what I want to write. Back in the 80s, I saw this amazing short film called The Ugliest Pilgrim. It was a beautiful story by the great Southern writer Doris Betts. I don't know if you know Doris Betts. She was a teacher, a professor at Chapel Hill, beautiful Southern writer, and a great teacher of writers. The filmmaker named the film Violet. It's the story of a young woman from North Carolina who wants to get healed because she has a scar that Doris describes as a rainbow that it goes across her face. And so she tries to get healed by a TV evangelist, but figures that the power is too diluted. So she gets on a Greyhound bus and goes to the TV evangelist's TV studio in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I love this story. It's been pulling at me for so long. I want to write it. I'm going to write it. And then someone says this, do you have the rights? Ooh. I don't even know what that means. Do I have the rights? Well, I find out what that means. What that means is I don't have the rights. Doris Betts, turns out, is repped by this really fancy New York City lawyer, AKA very expensive. I call him and I'm like, my name's Jeanine Tesori. I want to write a musical based on The Ugliest Pilgrim, and I'm really looking for the rights. And yeah, can you give it to me? And he takes a beat and he says, Doris Betts hates musicals. Doris Betts is a legend. I mean, who are you? And I thought, mister, if I knew that, I would not be eating squirrel pie in a lighthouse, doing the step workout tape with a hunting knife on my bedside, okay? Anyway, we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm negotiating. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just want the rights to this short story. He stops taking my calls. So I do what any sane person would do. I get on a People's Express airline ticket to North Carolina for $19. Now, People's Express, I don't know, I'm older than a lot of you, but People's Express was basically an airline back in the day where for $19, sometimes $49 if you were not lucky, they would just put a stamp on you and mail you somewhere in the United States. I'm in North Carolina. I'm on Doris Betts' porch. Doris doesn't know I'm coming. Bing bong. Doris opens the door. She lives there with her husband, a judge. I didn't know that. Doris is completely clad in purple. I am completely clad in black. It's like I'm always ready to man a puppet or join a mime group. Together we look like some southern northern brews or something. And I say, Miss Betts, my name is Jeanine Tesori. All I really want to do is make a musical out of The Ugliest Pilgrim. I will do anything. I've been calling your lawyer, and I don't know what else to do, so I flew down to North Carolina, and please give me the rights. And she takes a beat. And she says, well, darling, that's a very long way to come. Come on in and have a drink, will you? And we do. We drink scotch on the rocks. I can still hear the sound of it. And I say, Doris, if we at all dishonor your work, I'll tell you what, just pull the rights. It doesn't matter to me. I need to write this story. Doris, I'll tell you what, I'll pay your legal bills. I'll negotiate with myself and pay your legal fees. She says yes to that. I'm back at the lighthouse. Lake Champlain, how can I describe Lake Champlain? It's so big it has tides. The winter has arrived. There are 14 storms this winter, 2 of them white-out blizzards. Some days I am so lonely my chest hurts. The lake freezes to such an extent that you can drive a pickup truck. And guess what? People do. They drive pickup trucks across the lake. And suddenly now I have neighbors at the lighthouse. I have dozens and dozens of ice fishermen who have set up their little huts that dot the lake. Hi. Oh, no. Okay, hunting knife. Okay. Turns out I have also neighbors inside, field mice. Did you know that field mice really, really love a very warm lighthouse? There are many of them. I set out a lot of traps. After 26, I give up. I ended up doing like this with the tail and throwing them. I give up. I think, okay, we'll cohabitate. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all stay here. I'll be upstairs. It's fine. One morning I come down. I put my boots in. Oh, I know, but it's even better. I had gotten a big bag of puppy chow in case I got a dog. They had taken during the night, like a little conga line, a lot of little mice, and deposited all the puppy chow into my boots. Now, how can I describe what it's like to put your foot into a boot that's half filled with puppy chow? It is not pleasant. I do not recommend it. The spring comes. Brian Crawley, the wonderful playwright, has joined me in writing this. We write by telepathy, we write by mail, we write over the phone. We send Doris cassettes, we send her letters, we send her script pages, we hear nothing. We send her cassettes, we send her script pages. I wonder if I should send her money. I don't. We hear nothing. The lake has started to thaw. Now, when a lake like the Lake Champlain thaws, it doesn't just melt, it gives up. It doesn't melt overnight. It cracks, and it moans, and it sighs, and it resists, and I think, oh, this is me. I am cracking and moaning and sighing and resisting. I'm going to listen to this. I'm listening to everything. I'm listening to nothing. I am a catastrophe. I am a fuck-up. I am a fool. It turns out I was melting and refreezing and in process and listening to myself. I was trying to write myself home. One day, I go to the mailbox, and there's one letter in it, just like Charlie Brown. And I read it. Dear Jeanine, I love what you and Brian are doing. You may have the rights. More to come, Doris. Doris always signed her letters, more to come. It's an early June day. The weather is so beautiful now. I am looking for a sign to go back home. I'm playing the piano. The piano was set up in the living room after the guys delivered it in a truck like it was always ready, you know, the top up for some, just like that, for some pop-up concert that no one really wanted to come to. Anyway, I'm pounding and pounding because that's my technique. Just fill it with rage and pound. Playing, and all of a sudden I hear the horrifying sound of a gunshot. What the hell? I race outside. Can't see anything. And then I see something silver over there. I go over there. It's a piano string. I was playing so hard that one of the lower strings, released from the tension, shot out through the piano, through the window, across the lawn, and into the hedge. I mean, if someone had been standing there, I would have killed them. They would have died by my C-sharp. It's a sign. It's time to go home. I pack up, and I go home. It's 4 years later. I'm at the opening of the musical called Violet at Playwrights Horizons that Brian and I wrote, and Doris allowed us to write. I am married and 4 months pregnant. Doris and her husband are in the corner drinking scotch on the rocks. She catches my eye, I catch her eye, and she motions for me to come over. I come over, and she does this, and she whispers in my ear, more to come, darling, more to come. And there is.
Jeanine Tesori, everyone!